Goldilocks Visits Her Aunts by Joe Radigan. Illustrated by Linda Silvestri. Chapter 1. Goldilocks Gets an Idea. Goldilocks awoke one fine winter's day with an idea that pleased her greatly.
I'm going to visit my aunts in this city, since I haven't seen them lately.
Her parents cringed and hemmed and hawed, in hopes of finding a way to say no. They loved their daughter very much, and they didn't want her to go. Her dad said, "Do you recall not long ago, you broke into the house down the block? You bothered those bears who have since moved away, having never gotten over the shock."
I'm older now, said Goldilocks, and I would never again intrude on anyone's home or break their stuff. I realize now that's rude.
"But your aunts are all strange," her mother said, "in the city so large and wild." And to themselves, her parents thought, "And a bad place for a troublesome child." Of course, Goldilocks got her way, even though her parents were tense. They needed something to give to the girl who didn't have much common sense. "We agree to let you go, but only on one condition. You must take along this special bag we bought from a magician." Goldilocks grabbed the canvas bag and placed a hand inside.
Wait a minute, this bag is empty,
the spoiled, bewildered girl cried. Chapter 2. Goldilocks in the City. Goldilocks took the bus to the train and walked for some time in the snow. Even without the directions, she remembered which way to go. Finally, the building with the revolving door. Goldilocks spun 20 times around and then launched herself toward the lobby, landing dizzily on the ground.
I love to spin,
yelled Goldilocks as she walked to the elevator. When the door opened, an otter got off with his good friend, Alligator. The otter politely held open the door. Goldilocks pushed her way in and said nothing. The otter looked at the gator and said, "That girl's rudeness is simply disgusting." Goldilocks pressed all the buttons inside, which caused one kangaroo to complain, because instead of going straight up, they stopped again and again and again. After 10 minutes or so, the elevator was at the right floor.
"Oh no,"
Goldilocks sadly exclaimed.
"I can't remember which door."
She'd lost her cell phone on the train, so she couldn't text or call. With a groan and a moan, she came to see that she'd have to knock on them all. Chapter 3. Behind Door Number 1. Door number 1 wasn't locked or closed, so she walked in without a care. She ate all the porridge left out on the table and broke an uncomfortable chair. Goldilocks thought she had the right door, and her aunts were all out shopping. So, she ran around and made a mess without pausing once or stopping. After lunch, feeling tired, the girl found a bed full of lumps.
I know my aunts won't mind if I smooth this bed with some jumps.
3 bears came home while she was napping and couldn't believe their bad luck.
"Not you again! How inconsiderate to come in here and run amok!"
"We moved to get away from you,"
Baby Bear said with a tear. Goldilocks ran as the bears tried to pounce.
"We're going to end your housebreaking career."
Goldilocks didn't know quite what to do, so she put her hand in the magical sack.
"Oh, look, a bucket of honey! What a wonderful afternoon snack!"
As the bears grabbed the bucket of honey and forgot their horrible fit, Goldilocks took the opportunity to run away lickety-split. Goldilocks was disappointed that she had made the same mistakes.
"I've got to do better next time, no matter what it takes."
Chapter 4. Behind door number 2. At the very next door, she pounded but didn't go in till invited.
See, I've learned to wait so patiently,
Goldilocks said, all excited. Once in the apartment, however, Goldilocks was confused to see a waddle of penguins playing video games on a large flat-screen TV. With a carpet of ice and a couch just as cold, she said,
I don't think this is the place.
She quickly turned to walk away and clumsily fell on her face. On her way down, she knocked over a lamp, which tipped over in a flash. The lamp then landed on the TV set with a crinkling, screen-cracking crash. The penguins turned to the clumsy girl and, flapping their flippers, exclaimed,
You ruined our game and our TV set, and for that you must be blamed.
The penguins blocked the doorway, leaving Goldilocks no way out, until she put her hand in the magical bag, and out came a schoolful of trout. She threw them to the penguins, who gobbled them up with glee, leaving the door unattended, so Goldilocks was able to flee. Another lesson for Goldilocks, but will it be enough? She learned to knock and be polite, and to be careful with other folks' stuff. Chapter 5. Behind door number 3. She gently knocked at the very next door and said,
May I please ask a question?
A pleasant voice said, Come on in. We're in the middle of a music session. A forest of bamboo stretched up to the ceiling as Goldilocks tiptoed within. Looking up, she saw 3 musical pandas playing drums, guitar, and violin. Want to join us for a meal? Here, have some yummy bamboo.
No way,
she said.
That stuff is gross. I'd rather eat my shoe.
We eat 12 pounds of it a day, and now you've made us sad. Please go away and don't come back, or next time we'll get mad. Goldilocks thought,
It's not enough to be patient or as careful as can be. I need to learn to be polite. That's the only remedy.
Chapter 6. A few more doors. She went on down the hallway and knocked on number 4, intent on acting kindly as 2 skunks opened up the door. She blurted out before she could think,
Yuck! I need a breather because you smell so awfully bad.
The skunks replied,
You don't smell so good either.
When the skunks slammed the door, Goldilocks got upset.
I really need to do better. I'm not polite quite yet.
At door number 5, she tried harder when she met a lion pride. She said,
Oh, thank you. You're much too kind.
When they invited her inside. Door number 6 opened to a living room full of apes, who handed her bananas as they hung upside down from the drapes. Now, Goldilocks hated bananas, but instead of saying,
Ew,
she thanked the gorillas kindly and asked if they had ever tried bamboo. At the next door, a fox and a wolf asked, Would you help us water our plants?
I'd love to, but I'm sorry I can't. I've got to find my aunts.
Chapter 7. The right door, finally. At each new door, Goldilocks tried to be patient and careful and kind, until finally, at the end of the hall, was the last door she could find. Come in, came a grumpy voice when Goldilocks knocked politely. She had learned that people responded even when she knocked lightly. Goldilocks turned the big doorknob and took a little peek. It was her aunts at the dining room table, who all began to shriek. Aunt Gertie yelled, "Where were you?"
What's the matter?
Goldilocks asked.
"We've been waiting for hours and hours, and you finally arrived at last." "What did you bring us for dinner?"
whined Auntie Emmy Lou.
"You'd better have some meatloaf, because you know I hate soup and stew."
Goldilocks reached in the magical bag as Aunt Margaret spilled her drink.
"Hurry, hurry,"
said Aunt Philomena.
"I could eat the kitchen sink."
Goldilocks pulled out each item her aunts wanted and desired, and after the mess of dinner, they all complained that they were tired. She knew it was time to go back home.
This evening was simply the worst.
But just then, Goldilocks realized there was something she had to do first. Chapter 8. Lessons Learned. She grabbed some paper from the magical bag and wrote and wrote and wrote. Then she slipped underneath each neighbor's door a sincere apology note. Downstairs in the lobby, she ran into the otter and a shrew.
Good evening, said the otter, and Goldilocks said, Same to you. My aunts are rude, impatient, and sloppy, she thought as she put on her hat. I know I have a lot to learn, but was I ever as bad as that?
At the revolving door, Goldilocks waited till a group of flamingos came in. Then she turned around 19 times.
I may be growing, but I still like to spin.